So let us talk right now to Graham Stringer from the Labour Party to find out just what he made of it all. Graham, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, it was a pretty pathetic effort. It was a pretty unconvincing defence of what happened. I don't think Boris Johnson seriously believes he's done anything wrong. And that's why I don't think he's going to offer up his resignation until it's kind of forced out of him.
I think that's right. I've seen Gordon Brown, Theresa May, David Cameron in trouble when they've lost votes or been in difficulty. I have never been in the chamber and seen so little support for the Prime Minister from their own backbenches. Some of those MPs, even though they've got masks on, looked absolutely distraught, almost to the point of self-harm. I think I agree with you. It was a half-hearted apology. I don't think he thinks he's done anything wrong. He thinks the rules don't apply to him. I think the critical point will come in the May elections because he's supported by many Conservative MPs who don't like his lifestyle and the way he ignores rules and gets away with things. If he doesn't deliver votes for Conservative candidates in the local elections in May, then I think they may get rid of him.
I think that's right, but I wonder whether he'll even last that long, Graham, because to me, the next kind of what you might call sort of brick that falls off the wall in the way perhaps of the next leak or a picture. I'm told there's a picture circulating of him and Carrie possibly drinking champagne at another party event. I mean, that would do him in, wouldn't it?
The Conservatives aren't very happy with him, to put it mildly. There's not an obvious natural successor. Many of the Conservative MPs are in marginal seats. There is still a doubt in their mind about whether anybody could do an electorally better job than he has done. So I think that is giving them pause for thought. But I also take your point. It's a bit like when Tony Blair said he was not standing the next general election, or any boss says, I'm going in 9 months. Once you know somebody's going, they are in effect gone. And we know that Boris Johnson is now close to the end. So it might come quicker than May. I still think May will probably be the critical point.
Well, I think that's right, because I was saying this actually last week, Graham, that imagine if you're in the cabinet and you get called in by the Prime Minister and he asks you to do something for him, you're going to be walking out of that room thinking, I'm not sure I want to do this, you know. So therefore his power has already kind of been seeping away for quite a few days after what he said yesterday and what you've just said about the knowledge that he will go at some point, whether it's sooner rather than later, we don't know. But basically he hasn't got many friends in the room anymore, has he?
He's never had a lot of friends. His supporters always really come from his electoral success and his promise, which, to be fair to him, he carried out. He said he would get Brexit done. And although it's a flawed Brexit, it's not as good as I would have liked it to be because of the Northern Ireland situation. He did get Brexit done. That's where his supports come from. But now people will be thinking, is the Chancellor, is the Foreign Secretary going to be the next Prime Minister? What do they think? I'd better do something that doesn't annoy them rather than do something for the Prime Minister. That is how MPs think. They think, am I going to get re-elected? Who will be the leader of the party who will get me re-elected? And how can I respond to what they're likely to like so I stay in the cabinet or in my ministerial position or get into a ministerial position?
But it also, does it not, damages his ability to run the country? Because, again, he is now going to be driven entirely by staying in power rather than what is best for the rest of us, right? And that will apply to whatever COVID policy he rolls out. It will apply to his inability to make a visit today because he doesn't really ask any questions. He's suddenly become addicted to self-isolating, which is not something he's ever shown any enthusiasm for before.
That's true. He's a deeply damaged Prime Minister. I'm a Labour MP, and it is my job to expose flaws in the government's policies, contradictions, where I think they've got things wrong. But I'm also British. I want a United Kingdom Prime Minister to do his best for the country. This man can no longer do his best for the country if he goes to meetings with other countries, the prime ministers and presidents of other countries. They know that people in this country, as Keir Starmer said yesterday, they've come to a firm conclusion that our prime minister is a liar and a hypocrite and is not to be trusted. I mean, that gives me no pleasure to say it about a British Prime Minister who we want to do the best for the country, even if I disagree with them politically.
Yes.
So he's damaged both internally and externally.
And it's quite something, isn't it, when a fellow parliamentarian like yourself, Graham, you've been there a long time, you respect the office of state, I'm sure, but to call the sitting Prime Minister of this country a liar and a hypocrite is quite something. And it's extraordinary that we have come to this point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is extraordinary. And it's extraordinary that it's no longer controversial.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I'm sitting here going, yep, I can't disagree with you. And yet here he is running the country.
I could go into the members' tea room and talk to Conservative MPs. Normally, if I'd said that about David, well, it wouldn't have been true, but about other Conservative Prime Ministers, they would defend them. They'd be annoyed we'd have an argument. But if I went and said it to them now, they'd say, well, yeah, that's right. One of them said to me recently, I never thought I would say this as a Labour MP who strongly disliked Margaret Thatcher, to put it mildly. I actually think in dealing with some of the issues that the current Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has dealt with, she would have done it better. And I think virtually any Prime Minister since the Second World War would have dealt with the situation better because they'd got on top of the detail. And the Conservative MP said to me, he said, it's worse than that, Graham. I think we'd be better with Theresa May back, which he was somebody who'd not supported Theresa May at all.
Yeah, which was also an astonishing decision to come to because perhaps, Theresa May wasn't any good at getting Brexit done, but she was probably quite good at running a cabinet.
Yeah, and she was, whatever you think of her, she was an honest person trying to do her best for the country. I mean, she didn't do it very well when it came to Brexit, as it's happened. But nobody ever said she didn't try her best. Nobody said she was going about lying and being hypocritical about it. She just wasn't very good at one important part of the job.
Absolutely. And you'll probably know I'm no fan of Sir Keir Starmer, but he absolutely got it right yesterday when he asked the question of Boris Johnson, how stupid do you think the people of this country actually are?
Yeah. He's not had that many good Prime Minister's questions here. Yesterday, he was perfect in detail, perfect in tone. He kept the questions short and to the point and related it to what people were thinking and what the flaws and the hypocrisy in the Prime Minister's position was. We do not need an inquiry. The Prime Minister knows he was at a party.
Right. He's already told us everything the inquiry needs to find out. So what do we need that for?
No, and what we need him to do is resign and try and get the best Prime Minister for the country we can get, or have a general election so the people can decide. One of those two things needs to happen. He is now politically a dead man walking, and he's no use to the Conservative Party or the country.
No, I think that's absolutely right.